Welcome back for our latest segment in our voter education series, getting you ready with everything that you need to know heading into the 2025 Milford local town election. We've been chronicling a lot of the positions that will be featured on the ballot for this year, getting to know a little bit more about those positions, and today we're so happy to welcome in from Milford's Parks Commission, Joe Arcudi is joining us this week. Joe, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So Joe, I want to open up with just sort of like a big picture question. Can you kind of sum up in your own words what the role of the Parks Commission is here in the Milford community?
Sure. The way it was explained to me when I first started years ago was had to do with we are not day-to-day operations. We basically deal with setting policies, procedures, and procurement for the Parks Department. So any policies for the use of parks in town, procuring funding through town meeting and grants and what have you, based on any of the work-related events that are going to be happening, around like the pool or work at the town park.
How would you describe sort of a typical month for members of the Parks Commission? What from the time commitment, meetings, take us through that sort of typical schedule for a member of the Parks Commission.
Month to month, it varies. We do meet. We have monthly meetings, open to the public, open meeting law. Mr. Razum, who's our Parks Director, he posts it about a week before, put on our agenda. And it's basically, our commitment is based on what comes out of that meeting. And it just may be a monthly meeting, or there are times where in the springtime, early spring and early fall, we would be meeting with our finance subcommittee to get ready for the annual town meeting or the fall town meeting, based on if we have any articles in those town meetings. So it could be, once a month. It could be 2 or 3 times a month.
Now, you've obviously served on the Parks Commission for quite a while. For someone out there who may have an interest in the Parks Commission, what's sort of the experience going into it that could be helpful serving on the commission? Maybe even something that you maybe didn't know at the time as you were first getting on the board that maybe would be helpful experience to have to bring to the table.
I think what piqued my interest to get on the board was at the time before I was involved heavily with youth sports in town, whether it was Milford Youth football, baseball, what have you. So I saw a lot of what was going on in the town at the parks, some of the needs and wants from some of the youth boards. And, growing up, being a Milford person, growing up here, and I saw what Mr. Inglesi was able to do, and Mr. Moran and Mr. Barchi, all those years, along with Mr. Brashani, that, I wanted to try to keep that going.
Obviously, for all of the roles in local government here in Milford, there are time commitments. There are things that can be challenging about those positions. I'm curious too, what are some of the rewarding aspects of being part of the Parks Commission that you've maybe enjoyed most in your tenure?
When you see a project come to fruition, every project you do, there are going to be people that are happy about it. There are going to be people that aren't happy about it. But when you have that finished product, and the people that were a little leery about that project, they come up to you and, hey, listen, the pool, for example, right? There were a lot of people that, had concerns about spending the money on the pool. And, look at it now. I mean, it's ended up being, it's a beautiful spot in the town of Milford. Hopefully the town park's going to be the same way. And, we had people that were in favor of it, not in favor of it, but once something, the project comes to fruition, and it's nice to see.
And I would imagine the feedback element for your position can probably be a good thing and also a challenging thing at times. What's the balance there for a parks commissioner to listen to feedback from the community, to be able to know what residents want and try to balance that with making the best decisions for the town overall?
I think in any elected position, it's sometimes you think you know the answer, right? And you just want to do the project. But to sit and listen to the feedback from the people of the town is important, because you're only one set of eyes. There are many set of eyes on it, and you may pick up, someone may have an idea that you didn't see. So you can incorporate that into the project. People do have their opinions, and you listen to them, but you have to tell them no. That's hard. But hopefully they understand. And again, when the project is complete, everybody's happy.
Well, final question for you, Joe. What would be sort of your words of advice or inspiration for people out there in the community? I know, as we've talked to the citizens from Milford, one of the real hopeful outcomes of this series of interviews is getting people more involved in the local political process here in Milford, whether that's potentially getting involved in running for one of these positions themselves, or certainly getting more active in voting in local elections as well. What can you tell people at home about the importance of being involved in local government here in Milford?
To me, I think local government is, in my opinion, more important than national government, because you'll see the outcome more at home, and to get involved. If you have an opinion or an idea, this is your community, right? That this is your town. Get involved, and listen, right? But make the best decision for the town, not personal agenda, I guess.
Great information. We're so appreciative to learn a little bit more. I know the Parks Commission has a lot of work to do in the town, deals with a lot of different issues, and so it's great to learn a little bit more insight on that position. And so once again, we hope that this is useful information for people out there in the community to continue to get more and more involved here at the local level. So in the meantime, Joe Arcudi, we thank you once again for taking the time to join us this week. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.